Chapter 20, Think and Solve. All right, so number 33, what is the wavelength of a 340 hertz tone in a room temperature air? Now, the speed of sound in room temperature air is about 340 meters per second. That's why he chose that hertz. So we're looking at the equation V equals F lambda. In other words, the speed of a wave is equal to the frequency times the wavelength, which showed up in chapter 19. So the speed of the wave is 340 meters per second, and that's equal to the frequency, 340 hertz, times the wavelength. The math problem is 340 equals 340 lambda. Divide by 340 to get lambda by itself. And so we have lambda is 1 meter. So in the time it takes, because I'm producing 340 waves a second, and because of how fast it's traveling, and the time it takes me to go up and down and back to where I started, the thing's traveled a meter. Now, if we increase the wavelength by 100, we assume that the speed of the sound is still the same. And so if the frequency increases by 100, the wavelength has to decrease by 100. And so it should only go a centimeter, or 0.01 meters. Mathematically, we're dealing with 340. The speed is equal to 34,000 times lambda. Divide both sides by 34,000, and you're left with 1 over 100, or 0.01 meters, which is 1 centimeter. 38. We've got the Rip Van Winkle problem. He shouts, the sound goes out, comes back. It takes 8 hours for the entire trip, so therefore it takes 4 hours to go one way. So if we assume the sound is traveling about 340 meters per second-ish, then the question is, how far does it travel in 4 hours? Again, one way. So first we have to figure out how many seconds there are in an hour. There are 3,600 seconds in an hour. That's 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes in an hour. So 60 times 60 is 3,600. In 4 hours, there's 14,400 seconds. And so the question is, that reduces down to, I have an object traveling 340 meters per second for 14,400 seconds. I just multiply them together and end up with 4,896,000 meters, because that's a distance. And so it says nearly 5,000 kilometers. The answer that I gave, and we'll pretend that you can see that, is in meters. I divide by 1,000 to get kilometers, and I'd end up with 4,896 kilometers. That's roughly 5,000 meters. And so that's where that's coming from. And so those are the think and solves from chapter 20.